Welcome back to another episode of NFT Catcher Podcast. We'd like to remind everybody that nothing on the show is meant as financial advice, and to please do your own research. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
Now the subject is NFTs.
They're known as non-fungible tokens, or NFTs.
NFTs are exploding in popularity.
This is a technology that will forever change the way people interact.
So it is happening whether you understand it and like it or not.
This phenomenon is moving. The digital.
You have now joined Jenny from the blockchain and Michael Keene on the NFT Catcher Podcast.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of NFT Catcher Podcast. You might be surprised to hear my lovely voice kicking it off. Jenny is somewhere gallivanting around the Caribbean right now. I'm not sure exactly where, but I am here with my man Kyle Riggs on Twitter. Some of you might know him from Lunch Break, the afternoon show, which I think I saw is coming to an end at the end of this month. A nice run there. We'll talk about that. But what's up, Riggs? Good to have you on, brother.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Hope everyone's not too disappointed they get my voice instead tonight. But
they're all disappointed for sure.
They're totally disappointed. I'm trying to not fool myself here. But no, we're going to have a good time tonight. I'm excited to kind of dive into this. You are correct, my man. The lunch break, we are ending it. We've gone slightly over a year. We can talk a little bit more about that. We had a good run, man, but on to the next chapter, onward and upward.
Of course, brother. You guys did have a good
having
run.
Me here.
Yeah, no doubt. This is going to be fun. We have a lot to talk about, a lot to go over. It'll be interesting to see where the conversation goes. But first, tell people a little bit about yourself. So we're going to go over the news and we're going to go over like some kind of macro things in the space and just shoot the shit. But tell everybody, about yourself. Where you're an OG in the space. You've been around for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think that if you've been around for 2+ years, you're an OG, right? Like it's time flies. As you said, I'm Kyle Riggs. I go by Riggs on the timeline. I'm a Southerner that lives in New York City. So born and raised in Charlotte, North Carolina, have a background in sales and sales leadership. So prior to leaving a highly successful career to be a crazy lunatic and chase this dream, I was running a national cybersecurity company. Had a bunch of sales reps that reported up to me, and then left that and spent the last 2 years really studying this technology, learning as much as I can, hosting different shows, being a participant in several ecosystems. And then the last 12 months, I've been full-time working in the space as a true consultant for an agency here, helping organizations with go-to-market strategies, communications, and really overall revenue growth, which we'll definitely have to jump into because I think everybody is struggling with that concept of revenue after the dissipation of royalties.
Yes, sir. I've heard you talk a lot about that, and I definitely want to dig in and hear what you think and get into your thoughts on that for sure. That's awesome. That's so Board Ventures is where you're working with, right?
Yeah, Boardroom Ventures. So Josh,
Boardroom Ventures.
Boardroom Ventures. So 3 co-founders, Josh Ong, which many people know as Beijing DAO and or Maui Prime, the truest of the true OG Bored Apes. One Kim is one of the other co-founders who has a background in traditional marketing and pretty much got red pilled by Josh and really dove into this with him. And then they have a more silent co-founder, John, who next level, dude. Multiple degrees from like Harvard, MIT, wrote like theses on blockchain technology years and years and years ago. So he's next level. So it's been an unbelievable opportunity being around those guys and really diving into it.
That's really cool. I definitely want to hear more about that too. Jenny and I interviewed Josh just a few days ago. It hasn't come out yet. We're recording this on Sunday night, the 29th, probably come out sometime tomorrow. Andy's not going to bang it out tonight. He was just talking. He's probably going to pass out even maybe during the episode, but we'll see. But it'll probably come out sometime Monday, Tuesday, the latest. But we talked to Josh, really interesting. Yeah, he's a really interesting cat. Definitely the OG. I mean, I remember when I first hopped on Twitter, he was like already like the man, already like the OG. So that's pretty cool. You must be learning a lot. It must be really interesting.
Yeah, no, he's been awesome. He's an interesting cat,
Yep.
just like all of us. We've all got our stories, we've got our backgrounds, and listening to where he came from to where he is today, especially looking at him, which I know this is an audio show, but
Yeah.
the photos of him that I've seen now of like clean cut in suits and things like that versus what we know Josh as today are awesome.
That is the truth. His Zoom thing when it goes to like a non-video is an old picture of him, and then it goes like back and forth, and it's pretty funny.
That's awesome. I hope you asked about karaoke. I really did.
100%. I brought up karaoke.
Yes.
I did not sell you out, but I was like, I heard through the grapevine that you are a star karaoke singer, and I got him to laugh. He's pretty stoic, but I got him to laugh he was like, "Oh no," or something. He said something.
He's so hard to make laugh at times.
Yeah,
if you get him smiling, he has this like
we did get him smiling,
big cheesy smile, and he loosens up. But no, he's lighthearted. He's a lighthearted dude, but he is pretty stoic.
Yeah, no doubt. So what was going on this week? So let's say, Yuga won their lawsuit. Did you follow that so much, or
I did
not too much?
Yeah, I mean, I did follow it. It's one of those things. I actually am. I think as the lawsuit progressed and the egregiousness that was taking place with what Ryder Rips and Paulie were speaking about, I actually feel like the lawsuit lost a little bit of the allure of what it could have done for the overall impact of the space, and really became almost like a defamation lawsuit versus an IP lawsuit.
Right.
And still, I'm super glad that they found out, right? They definitely fucked around for a bit, and they ended up finding out what took.
Yeah, they played it. He played a game. He thought he was cute. Oh, I'll just reverse him and sell him. He thought he was cute,
dude.
They
got taken to the cleaners, and
1.6 million.
1.6 million plus attorney fees. Which
you're right.
I'm expecting those attorney fees to be more than the 1.6 million.
It could be. It could be.
But when you look at the actual IP section of it, which the origination of this lawsuit, right, came from that aspect of it, and it really was around using Bored Ape Yacht Club or BAYC, things like that. It wasn't about the individual
you're right,
assets being leveraged in a different way with a yellow background, right? And so from a consumer protection standpoint, I'm not an attorney, but that was my question of how did this impact the consumer protection side of things when you get licensed out these IPs, or we're told you own the IP, right? And so I want to know a little bit more about that, and maybe it'll come. But it was a good win, and I'm happy it's off the plate, especially for Gordo, with the heart issues, things like that, going through any type. Yeah. If you've been in a leadership role in business like I've gone through some lawsuits. They suck, man, dude. And they take a toll on you. So I'm glad it's over for them, and they can really get back to focusing on what's important.
Yeah, hell yeah. I bet they didn't make it that they didn't do the defamation side of it, because then you got to hash all that stuff out. And then then they'd have to go over all the evidence and all the different, parts of it. And nobody wanted that.
I'm surprised it came to an end this fast, actually.
Yeah. I wasn't paying. I was hearing the news about it and paying attention, but I didn't know it was quite like that. I actually listen. You ever listen to Carly Riley? Overpriced JPEGs.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, she's been in the courtroom. Oh, she's been in the Sam Bankman-Fried courtroom. I heard her today. I just mixed those two up. Whoops. She's been in the Sam Bankman-Fried courtroom every day, which I found crazy. I was listening to her podcast today, and she was literally sitting in the courtroom with that. But not this good. That was good.
That courtroom would be wild to sit in. I mean, I have heard just outrageous things, like where he's just like, I didn't know sending money from clients to this other account was fraud.
Right. Well, he just says like they just put a bunch of stuff on the table and I just signed it. Like that dude's What a mess that whole situation.
I'm not going to lie, though. I could almost believe it because let me tell you what, my biggest question around this SBF thing is how did this guy, the way he looks, speaks, he's not charismatic at all. He doesn't command attention at all. How did he get in these rooms and have these people go and back him?
Well, it's the money because he donated more money than anybody to both sides of politicians.
It's always money. You follow the money. That's how it always happens. But it's just baffling at times when you think through it. Like, God, I mean,
I know it was such a it was so fake. Like, there's too many coins, dude. There's like so much of this stuff that's all like, and you're getting these valuations from just garbage. You know, like,
dude, it's vaporware. Most of it is absolutely
most
vaporware.
of it is. It's all on top of each other, and this one's worth something because that one is like it's crazy. It's crazy.
I was at an event Friday night, at a birthday party, and I swear I go to this birthday party. I'm with my wife, Mrs. Riggs. I'm like, I'm not gonna talk NFTs. I promise I'm not gonna do it. Like, first conversation that pops up, this guy introduces me and he goes, yeah, he's in crypto and NFTs. And I'm like, yeah, but we don't need to talk about that, right?
Yeah, but I host a show every single day and I've been
it starts going down the path and he goes, so you're into crypto. Like, how many cryptocurrencies are there? And I go, I don't know. A lot.
Right.
He was like, could you name like 20% of them? I go, probably not. I mean,
no way.
No chance.
Isn't there like 25 different ETHs? Can't they like people can like make clones and I'm like, that's like
it's crazy. So I was just like having to backpedal a little bit while like trying to close this conversation because I see my wife, just the eyes staring at me like,
right.
Are you going to pay attention to me? Are we going to do anything aside from talk about your cryptocurrencies and your JPEGs? And I'm like, I tried. I promise I tried.
It's an interesting conversation. People always want to talk about it. Didn't that die? Aren't they worthless? You know.
Well, according to Rolling Stone, they're all worthless. So, you know.
Yeah. Well, most of them are. Most of them are. Yeah.
If they're not like most of them are already, and the ones that aren't, most of them will be. Like it's just the reality.
Yeah. And then new ones will come out, and you know, that is what it is for sure.
Totally.
Yep. Are you jealous of everyone in Hong Kong this week? I know I am.
So I'm not yet. Like, I'm starting to get there. Like, I'm starting to see the tweets have landed in Hong Kong.
I know.
I know once the photos start hitting and all the parties and the stories of, oh my God, I got to hang out with this person and have this conversation, I'm going to be like, God. That said, the trip is just brutal, man. Like,
yeah,
I don't do well with like jet lag. I'm kind of a bitch.
See, I'm good on that. I'm good with jet lag. I'm good with long flights. I'm a traveler. I'll go. I don't give a fuck. Dude, let me tell you the key to jet lag. So you're talking about you go to Europe and you take like whatever, usually you do a red eye and you land like the next morning or afternoon. And what everybody does is they go to the hotel. They're so tired. Oh, check in at 1 p.m. Pass out. And then you're screwed because you wake up at midnight.
Yep.
You need to bulldog that one day. You need to just drop your stuff and just walk like 10 miles through the city, explore your neighborhood, eat some food, go back at a normal time, go to sleep, pass out all night. You wake up the next day, you're perfectly fine. That's how you do jet lag. It's mental. Jet lag is mental, bro.
I have no doubt.
Your first sleep needs to be the first real nighttime when you get there, no matter how long that is. You might need to be up for 30 hours, but then you get that full sleep and you wake up and you have a nice breakfast and you're good to go.
See, what the listeners don't realize is you just told me I have a weak mind. You're like,
it's all mental, brother. I'm just saying it's all mental. I didn't say you.
It's all good. I've got a weak mind when it comes to it.
I think it's all mental. My wife and I flew to Barcelona like 6 or 7 years ago, and I can remember this vividly. We got there, and I'm fine. I'm like ready to walk around town. She's like passed out in the hotel lobby, like waiting for our room. Let's go.
Yeah, I've gone to Japan a couple times. I mean, I've traveled all over.
Yeah.
I will say the one time I handled the jet lag the best, which I think Ape Fest would be similar because you're excited about everything. But I won a trip from being a top sales person in the country. So 5-star full, like, tour guide the entire time. So when we got there, we actually had stuff to go do
in Japan.
So like,
yeah, dope.
You just had to change clothes.
Yeah.
Put some water on your
face an itinerary
and go, right? And you're right. If you do it, you're good. It's those trips though, when you don't have that like thing to get out the door to get you to, just like, I'll just put my head down just for a quick second.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, for sure. You're fucked you could be fucked for 3 or 4 days if you do that the first day. If you take that nap.
100%. Absolutely.
Yeah, people ruin their whole trip. Like, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like,
dude, it's interesting though. I think this Ape Fest is going to be really important for the community holistically, because I think the way Ape Fest has been done in the past, with it being really music festival driven, this one is not. Yeah. So I think it's setting the tone around that. One of the things that I started looking at wasn't about the Ape Fest events, though. It was about the cross community events. And I'm taking note of
a lot of good stuff. Yeah,
there are, but there's some projects that I'm like, why the fuck are you not there? Why are you not doing something? I mean, Proof and Moonbirds, my home turf in essence. I'm like, why are you not there? Like, this is the type of event it's a
big time. Yeah, a lot of my friends are there. A lot of people look like they went. Cap went. It looked like he flew over. Right?
Yeah.
That's pretty dope. That's pretty dope.
Josh and One are both there too. So like, I'm gonna be holding down the fucking fort all week in the office.
Damn.
We've got remote workers as well, but we're the ones in New York City, and so like, I'll definitely have some FOMO this week where I'm like riding solo, and I'm like,
yeah. Oh, that should have been a business expense, Josh. What the heck, dude?
You heard it here first, Josh.
Yeah,
should have been a business expense.
That should have been you need rigs out there making content, meeting people, shaking hands.
Facts.
Woo.
Yeah, I missed opportunity, man.
Yeah, and business class, because you don't want them showing up jet lagged.
It's business class or nothing. Like,
I mean,
first off, you can't see.
And you're in New York.
Here.
That's a hop, skip, and jump from New York. It's a direct flight.
Yeah, you no doubt. And the people can't see me, but I'm high class, right? Like, I'm
yes. You could tell. Yeah.
You can tell. Absolutely. It's business class or anything.
Yeah. They'd probably put you in business class anyway, even if you had a coach seat. Just
when you see me. Right.
They wouldn't. It wouldn't make sense to put you in.
Sure, we need to upgrade you. You lift up the rest of the people up here. Yeah.
Right. You're just going to bring the morale up of the whole plane.
Oh, I love
that. Oh man. Yeah, dude. Nah, it does look like it's going to be a fun time. Hong Kong is popping. My buddy Mark was posting pictures walking around some food market.
Oh,
like, what a great city. That must be so cool.
It's going to be awesome. Like, I just, one of the things I hope doesn't happen. So I've thought about this a lot, and because I like to travel, right? I like to immerse myself in other cultures.
Same.
When you travel to Hong Kong and you're going with a big group of people, and you're, even if you're going solo, you're going to hang out with people, right?
Mm-hmm.
I hope we don't get stories of the same people going and doing stuff, just bouncing from party to party. Like,
you want to see people taking in the culture.
Taking the culture, but also go find those community members that live over there that can't travel to the New York cities at times, and spend time with them. Try to understand them. I mean, there's so many cool opportunities that everyone, myself included, right? We always question, where are the opportunities in this space? It's within the people. You've got to
you're
find
right.
it.
And it's in Asia. And it's in Asia.
And it's in Asia.
There's more. There's like, there's just, that's where all the people are.
Absolutely. That's where
Japan, Indonesia, China, like
the tech builders are not that we don't
Right.
have some incredibly
No, they are.
smart
Yeah,
people
yeah.
here, but they are
Yeah.
on a different level. The way they look at things, the time horizon that they have over there.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I've talked with, so I've gotten pretty close with a couple people that live in Korea through Moonbirds and a couple other communities. And they're like, yeah, I mean, the bear market doesn't really impact us like you guys are having. Like, yeah, I mean, things are down, but we saw this coming. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, we pretended like we saw it coming. We all
Yeah. Why didn't you let us know? Yeah. I mean,
seriously,
geez.
don't hold that alpha. But the other aspect though, that I think is something these teams need to really think through is she was like, the community prop of these projects doesn't matter over there because most of the communication is coming out in forms of English and or in time zones where they can't participate in the activations. And so they're looking at this in a much different way, which I will say, if we're going to say we're community first and community is a value prop, we probably should start to think about that and potentially have two types of community managers, an Asian Pacific community manager and a North American type of a community manager. And you build differently, but you build alongside of each other and you don't ostracize half the fucking world and where they can't participate. I think that would probably be a important thing to learn.
Now you're right. As the space matures, especially you guys, people were complaining, but they're making a smart move. The people that wanted to go are heading over there. It's like a pilgrimage. What are other projects going to do to foster those communities? I'm having a hard time figuring out what most of these projects are even going to do to exist, to be honest with you. The ones that are just, they created the IP. So there's like you guys pivoting to games. It seems like they're going to do great. It seems like they're going to make money. I don't know what the NFTs are going to do, but what games, I don't play games, honestly.
Me neither.
I don't play games. So I can't really get all these ones that we were getting hyped about games. I'm just not hyped about games at all anymore. How good is a game going to be to get me to play it? I don't even know.
I don't think it could be good enough to get me to play it. At least not to the point where there's a value add. Don't get me wrong. I'll sit and play Pudgy Dash on my phone because it's like a little Frogger game where you just kind of click it, and that I
play Tetris. The only thing I play is Tetris when I get bored.
So I'll play a game like that, right? Something that's on the subway. I can sit and play if I'm in between commutes, something like that. That makes sense. But to play hours on end. And I think where Yuga has missed it, and I've been very vocal on this, and I try to be respectful as well of these leaders of these projects because I understand building in this space is challenging, but there's a reason why everybody was so pissed that the rewards from the Forge and whatever those other games they were doing wasn't big enough. It's because it wasn't fun. So if it's a grind, if it's a way of earning money, people are going to expect that reward to be higher versus if it's just fun and there's an additional reward that comes with it, then that's something that's entirely different. So the game side of things is not necessarily where I see my focus going. I think there's a ton of potential there. Gaming is huge in the world. And so if some of these teams can do something great, awesome. To your other point, though, is what are these teams going to do to exist? I think that's the biggest challenge that they're having right now. And I don't think anybody's fully immune to it because if you think about these early on 2021, early 2022 projects, right? They built an entire business model around royalties. And so then royalties dried up, which they were hoping they probably, if they were smart, knew that would happen. However, they probably expected to be a longer period of time before it took place, and for them to be able to find out what that product was that they were going to build. Now you have them in a capital crunch situation where if you're looking at a P&L, it's just cost outlay, because that's the other concept. To reward holders is a cost, whether it's in real life activations, partnerships with different teams, partnerships.
Right. Yeah, people want stuff free forever. Like, I think that's like, how long can you can't just keep giving people stuff for free.
So when you have that situation, plus the aspect of them trying to have to find a product market fit that they can reverse engineer to where it's aligned with their original vision that they've pitched to these holders, you've now narrowed it down further and further and further to actually be able to accomplish something. And so it's like, man, this is we're in for a world of hurt. That's why, like, when people say we haven't hit bottom, I'm like, you're fucking crazy, man. You are insane.
Right.
Like,
the only thing people have figured out is like merch. That's the only thing they've really
merch
as far as those
plushies.
Like merch. Well, right. Yeah, well, that's merch. But yeah, exactly.
And that's the thing. It's like
the selling stuff.
Did we come in here to get rich? Yes.
Collectibles,
like,
right? Yeah, that's
real.
why everybody came. That's why we came.
Real.
That's why we came.
We came here to get rich.
Yeah.
Then we fell in love. At least for me, we fell in love.
Well, we wouldn't still be here 19 months into this bear market talking like this.
Totally.
19 months, like that goes without saying. Right.
Totally. And so we fell in love with the concept of this community, the concept of ownership, the concept of being able to build alongside these teams and have access and all this good shit, right? But then we start to look at what innovation has taken place. And honestly, it's astounding at how many of these teams are on the backs of the blockchain are building Web 2 organizations. And so is that a problem? I don't think that's a problem, as long as you find a way to bring it back to the blockchain. I think anytime companies can build a business that drives sustainable revenue that's able to be forecasted and predictable is something that's incredibly important for the scaling of any type of business. And so the question really where I start to think about it is what teams have the capability, whether it be through their IP, which I'm not an IP maxi, but whether it be through their IP to actually drive something that could be really cool, entertaining, engaging, and permeate so much further than just this Web3 audience, or who has the chops to build some tech solution that actually fits either a want or a need and or both that also pushes past this Web3 bubble, because we can't keep seeing. I love Pudgy Penguins. I got my Pudgy collectibles up here. Pudgies are doing it phenomenally, but they did it on the backs of their community, where they actually came in, they rallied the community, they built that up, and they created a rally cry. We're going to be the biggest IP company in Web3. Simple, clean. Everybody can get behind it, whether we're getting rewards or not. So when they get into Amazon, everybody goes nuts and buys them. When they get into Walmart, everybody goes nuts and buys them and creates that network effect, right? I love the fact that they have the pullback into the blockchain with the little Pudgy traits and Pudgy World. My big question is, what's their conversion rate? I want to know some data around that. Is it working from that standpoint? Now, all of a sudden, though, you see all these other teams wanting to do similar things, right? You saw Cleanosaurs come out with Pudgies. You've had VFriends do it. You've had, we can't take a playbook and just repeat it. It won't ever work. We've got to take the playbook and manipulate it into our own, steal like an artist, right? And add something to it. Innovate, iterate.
Right. Take an aspect that you are really impressed with and use that in your idea. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So I just don't see enough of that. And it's just an unfortunate situation. I don't think a lot of teams have the capabilities to do a lot of what some of these successful, quote unquote, successful teams are doing. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those where I go back and start thinking of if I was if I was leading this project, what would I do? Right. And I
please.
chose not to start my own project when I could have in the Bull, right? Like everybody else did, partly due to the fact I didn't want to be like an indentured servant to, beholden to your holders at all times where you can never do right. Nor did I want to eventually look at, I think we overuse the term rug in this space far too often. A failed business is not a rug. And if you fail, you're like exiled from the space altogether forever, and your entire reputation is burned. I just didn't like that concept. I like working with teams. I like working with leaders. I love being around strong leaders. But there's only a couple companies I think I could do something with. I mean, even if it was me, right? Like, I don't see a lot of them as having a ton of forward capabilities. But that's I'm not deep in those other projects, so
it's tough. One thing that nobody's really like, I want to see people start to bring some of these characters to life, like some really good animation, some really good, give them a voice. Like, I think that would help some of the stuff. I always thought that would how you don't see that yet. Like,
yeah,
even Cool Cats and Doodles, like they're like, here's our characters, and they might be like crappy animation. I don't know, like.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. We've worked with some companies at Boardroom, helping them create their story Bibles, right? Where it's really from start to finish how these characters work. And that's the other challenge of this space, right? You can build out an entire plot, but how are you going to intertwine all of these characters where you make everybody happy? And there's a lot of them that are duplicates. They look the same aside from background colors. So there's a lot of challenge there, but I totally agree. That said, good animation is expensive, man. Like
I know. It's
really
very,
good
very
animation
expensive.
is like what Shadow Wolf? Is it Shadow Wolf?
Yeah. You talking about
Doodles,
the company that Doodles purchased? I think that's what it's called. I don't remember exactly. It's something like that.
They do incredible work.
They do.
Next level. Like they did the 2 animations for Proof for their Mythics. But man,
I don't think I saw those. I don't think I saw
Oh
those.
man, you should go watch. Like they're really good. Like
I will. I do
would
need
remind
to see
you of like Disney movie, like
okay.
But it didn't bring it to life enough, right? It didn't say this is a character's name. This is how you get attached to this character, right? And I'm with you, dude. Like Blue Cat, man, Cool Cats.
Yeah.
That's one of the Cool Cats is one of those projects I actually think if I
give it a voice, give us a 30-second cartoon.
Dude, you're about to have this character in the Macy's Day or Thanksgiving parade. How do these kids look up at that? Like you go there, right? And you see SpongeBob. You relate and it brings back the episodes and this and that, right? You see all types of characters. When you see the Blue Cat, what emotion is it going to invoke in these children? Will it even invoke that it's a cool, cute little cat? Potentially, right? Will it do enough to where their parents pull out their phones or they pull out their phones and Google what it is? Maybe. But I think that they've got to figure out, like Pudgy is going to be an interesting one, right? Pudgy has pushed this IP out to where they have had, I think, over 7 billion views on GIFs.
I know, that's crazy.
It's crazy. So the characters are now starting to resonate. They're starting to be recognizable. Like my sister has sent me GIFs, not knowing what she was sending me, and they were Pudgy GIFs.
No way.
Like when I was headed to Walmart to do my sweeping to support the team, I called my mom and I was telling her, one of the projects I'm involved in and supporting, they just got into 2,000 Walmart. So I wanted to go pick up a bunch of these toys. I'm going to send some to the nieces, nephews, all that good stuff. And she goes, "Oh, is that those penguins?" And I was like, "Have I talked to you about penguins?" And she goes, "No, but I saw them on LinkedIn." And so I'm like, "Oh, okay." So now she's seeing it, right? My sister's seen it. Other people have seen it. That said, what's the story? Who are the characters? Is there a bad guy? Is there another character that's going to get brought into this? And how can you start telling those to where you really start to have that emotional attachment to that character where collecting it actually means something, right? Because that's the only way I see value eventually continuing to appreciate to owning any of these things.
Right. Because you do there's a whole bunch of different characters, but they're all just pudgy penguins. They don't have names. They're not like the wizard one and the whatever it is. I mean, Luca is what he's done has been incredible. He's got this merchandising thing down. He did it with Gel Blasters. He did it with Von Dutch. Like he's got a real plan in place and good connections. Like it's really impressive. Hopefully they do hit it from that other angle too, where they can, because you're right about that. Like you see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Donatello, Leonardo, Raphael,
right?
And these ones, it's just and then the other side of that whole thing is, so you have these companies trying to figure out their business models. Even if they do, how does that impact the collectibles? I mean, only in the fact if they can just make them collectible, unless they there's not real.
Yeah.
Like Luke is trying to do some interesting things with the royalties. Maybe he'll knock that out of the park, but it doesn't seem like it'll be that much.
I think it's when you start to really segment. All NFTs are not the same, right? Plain and simple. Pudgies is an IP token. So you have this character that you're hoping they build this brand and you'll have licensing opportunities. Will that work? Time will tell. Will there be an aspect to collecting these down the road without those licensing agreements? Time will tell. Then you have other tokens that I would consider like membership and access tokens, right? And those are different. And so I would take Moonbirds, for example. Moonbirds, we went CC0. You have no IP rights to it. So there's a collectible aspect to these things. There are still rarities that you can still, I have a very rare Moonbird and I freaking love it. It's a dope Moonbird. That said, what's the value of holding it, right? And it's supposed to be access to their community, access to their network, and hopefully access to a platform or some other solution that they build. I mean, if I were running Proof, which I'm not, I have zero say. Let's put that out there. This is just Riggs speaking.
Aren't you on the community board or something?
So I was elected to the first inaugural community council. Our term has just ended recently.
Okay.
But I'm very close with the team. I've gotten to be friends with Justin. I've had several conversations with K-Row and just trying to support them in different ways and share things. So I definitely care about that team a lot. And that said, I will also give my critiques at times. I am known as Spicy Riggs, and I'll give a spicy take every once in a while. I would like to see them take their cash, right? They've got a big treasury. And
how much did they raise? They
raised $60 million. And then that's just VC. I believe Moonbird.
They raised 60 million VC. Gave 60.
Yeah, 60 million VC, and then I think they did another 70 million in mint royalties, something in that ballpark.
Ooh,
so
how much gas got burned? Another 50 million?
Oh man, probably, dude. Probably. Oh. I remember, and it was a raffle too. All of our stuff was guaranteed. And people were pumping gas. I remember I put a tweet out like, if you were pumping gas for a raffle, go fuck yourself. Like I was so angry. And then of course what I do, speed up. Like I start doing the same. I'm like,
right.
But I'd like to see them build, like, I would call it like an engagement platform, right? So they're going down this path of wanting to be the art collectors PFP. Their original collection, Proof Collective, was an art collective.
Well, let's go back to when they dropped. I don't know if people remember, when was this? Was this like
Proof Collective was December 2021. Moonbird was March 2022.
Ooh, March was literally, that was Other Side. That was Russia invading Ukraine. That was the peak end of it all.
It
Was
was.
March.
It was. Yeah. So when Moonbirds
Because
launched, it
and
went
the proof pass went to like 125 ETH or something.
140.
140 ETH. Moonbirds went to like 40 by itself.
Yep.
And like so they raised so it's like $130 million. They were and they were talking like it was impressive. It was looking at like I was looking at that thing like, wow, this is gonna be incredible. And then from the outside, so what I had an oddity, which I know it's Gremlin, but that art was pretty whack.
It was
right.
Yeah. No,
Right.
it was weird. It was odd. It was odd.
Yeah, they were oddities. They were oddities.
The name, yeah. They missed on that. So that was the first miss.
But I had one. I bought it for like 1 ETH. I don't care about that. That's my own fault. But and then I put it up to get burned or whatever. You probably know better how it works. But I got one of the new ones. It's actually kind of cool looking, but it's not worth anything. But it's kind of cool looking. But like it's just so from the outside. They've gone from they raised $130 million selling tokens at $100,000 each. The proof passes for $500,000, whatever it is, and now they're just like, oh yeah, we'll give you some art drops. It's kind of a little bit like, geez, like you guys are settling, right? Or that's like from the outside.
Yeah, no, trust me, it's one of those that I want to see him swing. I want to. You miss. Michael Jordan said you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? I want to see him start taking shots.
Of course. Yeah.
I think that they've done some extremely good things, especially in the art side of the house. You know, when you start to think of who they've done, they've had Tyler Hobbs involved in it. They've had Jack Butcher. They've had Alexis Ohanian. They've had Grant River Yoon. I mean,
incredible artists. Kevin Rose can get anybody he wants. He could tap anybody he wants on the shoulder.
People,
1,000%.
You know, tons of people, right? So I think they've done good things. They've missed expectations, and then they've not built anything that's sustainable yet. And so where I was sharing with them that I was like, dude, I've got an idea. I want to pitch it to you. So I pitched them this idea. This is recent. I have no clue if it'll go anywhere. But I think it's a good idea. I really do. I spoke to some community members about this. I'm calling it like an engagement platform, right? But this engagement platform can also be a educational platform. And we can go down the path of using our tools, our skills of the people that are in the community, the partnerships you have in place, additionally with just the name you have, the money you have, and you can build something cool from basic things like education around wallet management, wallet security, all the way to how to code for generative art, to how to use different art tools. And so you can actually tap into some of your artist network so that they can actually create a revenue stream by teaching these courses. You can then say you go start doing Adobe Suite lessons, right? You can go to Adobe, and this is where you can actually drive big partnership dollars if you're getting the daily active users, and can actually create a partnership to say, hey, you guys pay us. We're going to continue to push your products forward and continue to onboard people how to use them. Additionally, how you could create more revenue is this would be a subscription model aside from owning a Moonbird. If you own a Moonbird, you get this subscription for free. If you own a Mythic, you would then get a percentage off. And then if not, if you're anybody externally, whether that's Web 2 or Web 3, you can come in as a subscription model. You can pay in ETH, you can pay in however you want to pay it, right? USD, doesn't matter. But this way, you actually are driving behaviors. You do all these courses on the blockchain. So as they're completing these courses, they're getting different tokens and or certificates, whatever you want to call them. Those would be NFTs. The more you do, the more rewards you get, so on and so forth. And so you could actually create a sustainable business, all while remaining true to your direction of being an art collector's PFP by driving people to understand how to create the art, which then would in turn would be collected. So just a thought process. And you can actually build far more than just an education platform. You can do a lot more with it once you have the bones. We'll see what happens. I'm putting it out on air. I've shared it with them. We'll see what they do.
Yes, that does sound like a good idea. There's a lot of good stuff in there. Have you seen what World of Women is done with the patio, the thing they're doing?
So I spoke with Shannon.
Yeah, we interviewed her recently.
Yeah, a few months back prior to them
Okay.
launching it. So I got like a sneak peek of it.
Mm-hmm.
I know their tech partner as well, who's building it from the background. I think it's really dope. The challenge with these old projects, and I say old, meaning those 2021, 2022 projects, engagement is so bad.
Yeah.
There's
nobody around, right?
Apathetic.
There's probably so many wallets where people haven't even looked in there and they're just like sitting there. Yeah, I know.
So if you can't drive people to create habits of behaviors to come back and actually get on your platform, you won't get it. And then even the incremental revenue opportunities like World of Women's doing with the monopoly boards, you're not selling enough of them because there's apathy within the community as well, where they're saying, I don't, I'm already down $30,000 on this. I don't need to spend another $250 on this monopoly board, because they haven't fully rallied the community and galvanized them in a direction.
It all starts with the community from the ground up. It all starts there. Yep. Makes everything else make sense. It makes
100%. I mean, that's the only true benefit right now for a founder to want to build in this space, is if you do it the right way, you have that immediate network effect. And that's something that is hard to get. Like, I mean, again, not to always use Luca as an example, but it's just a prime example. Getting into 2,000 Walmarts day one is incredibly hard, let alone with a pallet program. The fact that they're selling the way they are, it all started with those people going out and posting all online, right? And then the more it kind of creates that flywheel, and then more and more people, it becomes on a bestseller from the website, drives people to want to, what is this, right? And then if you go by a shelf, if you're walking by a shelf, and it's human nature as well, as be like, dang, there's only 3 of these left. What's going on here? Right. And you kind of like, I'll grab it. Like it's $8. So I think you've got to find a way to galvanize your community to be able to have that network effect. I mean, otherwise, what's the benefit? And I think you're seeing that. Actually, that's, I think, what you're going to see as an issue with all these made by ape products. There's nobody actually, just because it's made by apes doesn't make it a Yuga product. It makes it a made by ape product. And so I'm not a believer that all these apes are going to go and buy all these products. I think the apes will go buy the products from the people that support them, right? If you like somebody, like Steve and Cap's got a couple of things that he's doing. I'll support.
Yeah, there's board shorts.
Yeah, which I question.
What?
I'm okay. Oh shit! I'm gonna say it.
Cap listens, bro. I want to know. Say
Cap,
it, please.
I want to know, Cap. Do these shorts have netting in them, and are they an elastic waistband? Because if they got the netting in them, I don't know if we can call them board shorts, bro.
TMI. I'm not on a picture rigs with netting. None of that.
Oh no, but I'll go support them because I like them, right?
Of course.
If Ben.eth were to make a made by apes product, am I going to go buy that product?
I'll just send ETH right to his wallet. That's fine.
He's got another token coming out. It's all right.
That's fine. I was just going to send you.
My God. But my point stands. I'm not going to buy things just because they have an ape on them if I don't resonate with the person who's behind it, right? And so you get the network effect if you're building like Cap and Steve and have developed a community.
Right, I'll buy a pair of shorts for sure. I'm going to buy Steve's book, like all that stuff. Yeah.
I'll probably buy a few of Steve's books to hand out, things like that, right? I want them to succeed because they're my friends.
Yeah. And they provide value every day.
Totally.
I haven't given them a penny. I listen every day to those guys.
Believe me, I get it.
Yeah.
I've been doing a show every day. It's hard.
Yeah, I know you have, dude. Yeah. Let's talk about that. So you guys are are coming to an end. Riggs has been doing every day, Monday through Friday, noon to 1 Eastern. You and Jay Webb.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's been a hell of a run, man. Let me tell you, we've done some really cool things. I believe we've added value for the people that have listened in one
You
way
have,
or another.
you have. I listen as much as I can. You've seen me down there. You definitely have.
I
You
do.
guys have had some awesome interviews. What was your favorite interview?
I honestly, I think my favorite show was the Frank D. Gods, Kevin D. Gods episode. And it was partly due to the fact Frank actually
I remember
was
that
supposed
one.
to be on
And
the
that
show.
blew up too. Didn't like
Oh.
750 people show up in there? Didn't it go crazy?
2,700 people.
2,700. Oh,
20, yeah.
like the overall. That
There-
might have been at one time. I might have seen that at like one time or something.
So we crest over. I know we crest over the 1,000 listener mark at one time.
Wow, I remember that day. I
photos.
remember that day.
And so, like, I'm sitting there trying to, and let me tell you, whoever says managing a stage with that many people in the crowd is easy, it was stressful.
Yeah.
And so Frank wasn't supposed to come on. All of a sudden, he pops in before Kevin, and he comes up.
And wasn't that right? Wasn't that right in the middle of the migration from Solana? Wasn't that around? When was that?
Now, I think it was them migrating to Solana or to
Right.
Polygon,
That was
to Polygon.
Yeah.
And so he had just made an announcement, and prior to me going to work at Boardroom Ventures, when I had my whole setup here to do it, I would always have wrestling intros for people. Right when they came up to speak, I'd have a different. So I had Generation X ready to rock and roll for Kevin, but it worked even better for our other guy, for Frank. Sorry.
Yeah.
And
all good.
so when Frank came on and I gave him that, he loved it. And then he goes, yeah. So I just put an announcement out, and I saw Kevin was supposed to be on this show. He didn't know I was going to put the announcement out. So like, I figure he'll yell at me less for being live on the show. So let's just get it out in the open right now. And I'm like, this is phenomenal. This is awesome. We're going to see two dynamics take place here. And it turned out to just be an awesome show. But I had Luca on several times. I think one of the really good shows was my making up with G-Funk. I had a bit of a villain arc with G-Funk from Pixel Vault, and
yeah.
I
think I remember that him and VGF came on.
Yeah, and so like we had a good conversation around why he, and he gets it from the sheer fact that it was a lot of things he did wrong. But no, the show was awesome, man. And I learned more about hosting and being on a microphone and how you, especially
valuable.
Especially with non-visual, right? With non-visual, it's different. You've got to have certain inflection points. You've got to know when to read off people and when to chime in. And it's harder than people think. And so I learned a ton of lessons. But, this bear market's been tough on a lot of things, let alone just the fact that in order to grow right now on X or Twitter, whatever you call it, I think you've got to lean so far into the clickbait right now and the negativity, and it's just not where we want. Even though I want to get spicy at times, I want to tell someone to go fuck off every once in a while. It feels good. I just don't want to have the Yuga is a rug Twitter, title. I don't want to have the same 15 people.
There's no reason to be negative. There's no reason. In the moment, it might feel good. It's everybody remembers. There's no put positive. That's what I do. Like, I share when I see cool something an artist does. Like, congratulations. That's the shit I put on Twitter. I don't get engagement. If I was like, fuck this shitty ass team, like I'd get a little more engagement, but there's no reason to put negativity out there for anybody.
Well, my thing as well is, and again, we don't know everybody's backgrounds, right? People don't know all my backgrounds, but at the same time, I think there's a clear difference of working in the space and being a commenter of the space. And when you want to sit up on stage and talk poorly about all of these builders that are trying their best, take away if you haven't. This is what bothered me a lot about the proof stuff. And I'll use them as an example. K-Row became a punching bag, right? because of the CC0 decision, which was horrifically bad decision. We all know that. That said, every time they call Proof a rug or Moonbirds a rug, you diminish the value of their employees and what they do day in and day out when they're working their asses off. They may not be succeeding to your liking, but what are you doing to build anything in this space of value aside from speaking about it? And don't get me wrong, speaking about it can be value, but at the same time, it's not the same. And so until you get in that hot seat, right? Like when I really got full time in the space where I'm I go to an office, I'm there every single day. It's different, man. It's a lot harder than you think. Getting people to move and make decisions with the levels of fear that people have because they have 5, 6, 7,000 upwards of 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 unique holders of certain assets. And you can't please them all. And one loud commentary can create contagion that ultimately impacts those highly convicted people as well. And then it just snowballs and snowballs. And then you're getting the death threats and this and that. And it's tough, man. I mean, shoot, I've gotten death threats. I've gotten told,
what?
Dude, no joke. I've literally been told multiple times to go jump off a bridge or jump off a building because I support Moonbirds. Just because I support them. I've been told that based on a certain commentary that I've provided at times, when I called out bigotry and hatred from a certain project of incels in the space, that they were maybe maybe that they were going to come and find me and hang me. Like, dude, crazy stuff.
And that's all. And that's all. You know who those people are? They are anonymous nobodies, probably 16-year-old kids or something. Anonymous. It's like anybody that would talk like that is just, that's the worst part about social media is the people that are anonymous that will just muck it up with just.
So when I was going to town against them, right, fighting the bigotry, fighting the hatred, I'm on a plane headed to Consensus. So I'm on this spotty Wi-Fi, right, and I'm going in
shout
and out.
Shout out to spotty Wi-Fi.
Shout out to spotty Wi-Fi there, no doubt. So I'm on the airplane Wi-Fi. And I'm trying to go in and out, and they're trying to get me up on a stage. And I'm like, I can't come up on stage. And they're like, yeah, go and hide. So then I snap a photo of my face and say, this is what I look like. Come find me, bro. Like, my buddy was already at Consensus, and he was like, oh my God, what are you doing? Like, you are just literally putting it out there. This is who I am. And I'm like, because I know these keyboard warriors, one, are not going to do it. Two, if they actually did do it, I mean, I was an All-American runner. I still got some speed, baby.
You can get out of there. Okay.
I'll get out of there if I have to, it's one of those things, but the space can get very toxic. I was talking about this the other day with another founder around the toxicity. I was like, the shitty part is, there's some incredible people. I met you in this space, right? I've met some amazing people that just don't get platformed quite like some of these negative, chaotic individuals, right? It just is what it is.
Of course. Yeah, I guess that's the way it always is. Same with the social media, like that, even those influencer world, like all those people are, the smart people don't get to play.
Facts. I mean, I'm not that smart either, so
No. Well, compared to some of them,
compared to some of them, most of the really smart people I've met in this space have like less than 1,000 followers.
there are some of the true. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah. Well, I'll be talking to them, and I'm like, "What's your Twitter handle?" They give it to me. I'm like,
yeah,
like 300.
Yeah, they're like, I don't give a.
They don't give a fuck about it. Not at all.
Right.
It's because their brain speaks for them, not their thumb.
Yeah, Yeah, that's pretty funny. But what else we got on this list? We're gonna go a little long. Is that cool with you?
Yeah,
You
dude,
gotta go. Yeah.
I'm chopping it up, man.
Usually Jenny cuts us off in an hour, but we'll go a little long. We'll do a long one. I think Andy might be sleeping, but it is all good. What do I have on here? Let's go over to Blair. Let's look at some data from Blair. Where do you go for your data? Like because I go first thing in the morning, throughout the day. I'm always looking at data. Blair's the place that I typically go.
Yeah, Blur's a good spot to go for data. It depends.
Although they got rid of the 30-day. It used to say 1 day, 7 day, 30-day, which I'm disappointed.
Oh, they did get rid of the 30-day.
Yeah,
Interesting.
this was like a week ago, and I didn't know if it was like a setting or something.
Yeah,
But
so
I think
I've used Blur. NFT Go has had some really good data I've leveraged in the past, but it just depends on what I'm looking for.
Yeah, for sure. I used to use like dgens.finance, the OSF one.
Oh, yeah.
But once I started trading all on Blair, like all the data is right there. So that's just where I end up and see if anything sticks out. Like I mean,
So, I know what I want to ask you about. I got a question for you.
Love it.
So there's a project right now that was giving me 2022 October 2022 PTSD, and then all of a sudden they come through and it's meme land. So I say it was giving me October 2022 PTSD because it was exactly this time of year that Gutter Cat Gang was going to be dropping gang last year. So meme coin was supposed to drop in June. They delayed it. Then all of a sudden they were saying October, and I'm like, oh man, here we go. Are we actually gonna get it, or is it not? And so a couple weeks ago they finally announced it. They have their farming where everyone's tweeting. I'm partaking in that as well. They did their fire sale where 182% oversubscribed and or over registered, so people actually submitted their money to it. You've got over $2 billion staked already in Binance's pool, and so so it's not even dropped. In the last 48 hours, captains, potatoes, and MVPs have climbed back up. So I think captains are at 5.1-ish. 5.2-ish, something in that ballpark.
Captains are up 20% in the last 7 days. What are the other ones? Potatoes are up 8% in the last 7 days.
Yeah. So you've got that project.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm trying to think through if you start to think about learning from past experiences, right? And the only token drop that I feel really blew up was Ape. Most other tokens fail. The big thing about Ape was the moment you claimed it, you had 100% of it that you could immediately sell if you wanted. With captains, the way they're doing it is only 25% of what you've bought in fire sale and what you're able to claim will actually be immediately available for sale. The rest has a vesting period that has a linear unlock of, I think, 6 to 12 months, things like that. So it's going to be a really interesting thing to watch. My question is to you, do we predict that when November 3rd's the claim, I believe, so I think that's Friday of this week, maybe something in that ballpark. Do we predict the same old, where all of a sudden people claim and then ultimately the value of the token and the value of the NFT are the exact same as what the NFT was prior to the claim? Because that's kind of what happens, right? You get a new asset, it dilutes it, and the value sticks.
What is the token supposed to be used for? I don't know. I know some of I remember hearing the Twitter Spaces when they were launching originally. What's that guy's name? The CEO guy?
Ray 9gag.
Ray, yeah. And like, I know everyone's saying that he's like a big deal. And what's it used? What's it going to be? Oh my God, look at your Twitter. You got the meme.
Dude, yeah, baby.
Riggs loves meme coin. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, I'm farming, baby.
Holy shit. Okay. So what is it used for? So like, that's what I want to know. If you want me to answer that question, I need to know Is
Yeah,
is it another Ponzi, or what are you going to use the meme coin for?
So he has been very clear with obviously with regulatory issues that this is a meme coin that has zero use case, blah, 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 all that stuff. However, he also said it will not be listed this has no expectation of being listed on exchanges, so on and so forth. And you've already found out it's going to be listed on Binance. He always has gone down the path from day one around creating a social fi site. And so I actually believe he is going to be,
like Friend Tech.
I think there is going to be something similar to a Friend Tech. I'm not entirely sure how that'll work. I don't know if there'll be bonding curves, so on and so forth. But what he has that others don't have is a platform already called 9gag that has, I think, 70 million active users. And so is there a way to integrate the two in order to onboard his other users into this space in some way or form or fashion, right? But I don't know. I don't know those answers. So I'm going down the path of like this mental struggle of, okay, don't be the dumbass again. Don't be the dumbass again. Just profit. Like I keep going down this path, profit's profit, right? And so if I sell now, like I could sell my entire meme land bag and I'm way up. And I've already gotten my fire sale allocation. So I'll have meme coin, it's just the question, is the NFT more valuable? Is the token more valuable?
Right.
Or are both of them less, really vaporware? And I don't have those answers.
Dude, so what do the 70,000 active users do? What do they do?
70 million active
70
users.
million. Yeah. Sorry. And which is the only thing that's keeping this afloat right now. So tell me what they do. What keeps them active?
Now you got me having to Google things.
So what, dude, right leading up, just sell everything right leading up, wash your hands, buy a nice piece of art and never look back. Take the money.
Honestly, that is what I need to do. It's what I need to do.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to do it because then you're out of it. Maybe keep a little something if you have a bunch. I don't know exactly what you have.
And I can always buy back. I can always buy back in, right?
Now's the time. Yeah. What's it going to do? It's not going to now what's going to happen is it probably will have an initial little roll up. You know what I mean? Like you might not be able to sell the exact top.
Right.
Like ApeCoin went from like $6 to $25 to $1. So like it's not going to be that extreme because ApeCoin was a worldwide phenomenon. This is not. It's not like that was.
Yeah, at least I don't think so. I mean,
it can't be. It can't be. That was in the middle of a bull market. That was right. That was the top signal. Yeah,
the top signal was the Crypto Boy song, like the Crypto Girl song or whatever. When she was singing.
Yeah, that was pretty toppy. That was pretty toppy.
Pico top signal.
Yeah,
we were all fucked after that. And I'm looking at this similar to what I just did. So I was pretty heavy into OPEPin.
Yeah.
So they just announced the Squiggle collab with
the Snow Peppin.
The Snow Peppin. Just do the math. The odds of you getting one of those is so slim. So what did I do? I sold all of my unrevealeds during this pump.
Because it pumped up. Yeah.
Because it pumped up. And then it'll drop back down. And guess what? I'll buy again. And I'll wait for the next big artist collab and I'll do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
dude.
it's one of those things. But
I like that.
No, this space is crazy, man. There are opportunities to make money still in this space.
There are.
It's just not quite like it once was where Max mint.
Right. You're just minting whatever.
Like, dude, the thing
at this point, anything you're able to mint isn't worth it. You know what I mean? Unless you find the diamond in the rough, but
dude, I've had a lot of conversations recently through Boardroom Ventures with people.
Yeah.
And a lot of people still call us to talk through minting strategy.
Like a regular, like a drop, like we're familiar
like a drop.
With a project, quote unquote. Yeah.
I've literally, I'll walk out of a lot of those meetings and Josh and one are like, dude, you can't be so hard on some of these people. And I'm like, I got to ask these hard questions because
Right.
these things, they're going down the path of
Right.
failure.
Like, what are you trying to do here? You just trying to make your couple million and then who knows? Right. Exactly.
Like we were talking to this one company, won't say the name, and they wanted to mint 15,000 PFPs at 0.09. Pico Bear.
Right. Like $1.25. Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, so what's your value prop? Well, we're VC backed by a large company. Okay, I got it. So you have money, but you're now trying to extract money, which, by the way, that's what these cynical assholes are going to think. What are they going to get for minting this?
Right.
Well, we're going to build a game. Oh, you're going to build a game. You haven't built a game. Okay.
You're like, I've heard this before.
Yeah. I was like, how far out's the game? Well, beta is probably 6 months out.
The metaverse too. You got metaverse coming.
Yeah, dude. I crush them, man. I crush them with questions. I'm like, I walk out of there. I'm like, okay, one, Josh, if you guys say yes, you want to work with these people, I'll go to war. I'll figure out what I got to do. But please, sweet baby Jesus, tell them no. Like, just tell them no.
That's wild, dude.
It's wild.
Yeah, those been some good conversations. I'd love to hear, like, so you don't have to name companies, but like some major companies, what do they want to do? What do you tell them? What's going on with the major companies trying to?
Yeah, so like I'll share one, and they partly due to they just had a drop. It's Ducati. So Ducati came into the space. They partnered with some folks. They came to us very last minute to see if we could help with go to market and awareness. And we're like, it's really last minute, but hey, it's Ducati. Let's see if we can do something. They're wanting to build out a platform to give homage and respect to their past, their present, and their future. And so this first drop was a past drop where they worked with a fairly famous artist, which this was the other problem. They worked with somebody who won't let us use their name because they don't want to be associated with Web3. I was like, probably, yeah. I was like, you probably should choose a different artist.
Yeah, dude.
Like, choose somebody who's proud of the space. That's okay. So that was potentially screw up one. Screw up two was they partnered with XRP. So it was on Ripple.
Ripple blockchain?
Yeah, which is like another friction. Another friction
wallet.
point.
Like that's what a mistake.
That said, they're committed to this. Like I've spoke to the CMO in Italy. She's incredibly smart. So we're talking about helping them do things a little bit differently for their present drop, right? Where they're going to show homage to their present bikes. And I'm talking doing some cool events in real life as a kickoff where you bring bikes in, you're demoing them. There's opportunities to earn chances to go for rides. And then ultimately having some real rewards as well, like being able to go to a race, being able to partner with certain collections as well, where all of a sudden that if a collection wins this XYZ, they've got their logo on one of the bikes, try to drive some engagement, try to drive some energy. Because right now people don't see the value of these collectibles anymore, right? They want to know what the value is back to them. What's the free money coming to them? And so you've got to, if you're not going to have that, which a lot of these big brands don't want to be that for regulatory issues, which makes sense, then there's got to be an engaging value through either entertainment or experiences that will create enough of a purpose for someone to say, yes, I'm going to go pay $100 or $200 for this NFT. Right. And so a lot of big conversations. I'm talking right now with a major financial institution about, they are a member-based financial organization, about creating a loyalty program to drive shared wallet, which means multiple services through them. So if they have a bank account with them but don't have their insurance with them, how do we get that? If they have their insurance with them but don't have their XYZ, then how do we get that? And creating a program leveraging this, along with creating some additional education platforms that they can use with their children through animations to teach basic financial literacy, things that the education system doesn't teach, and provide that value back to them as well, which then if they go through those courses, they can then help their kids set up their first checking account, understand how to do that. They can set up really cool things through this where like the parents agree to this, that the kids have to go through XYZ classes in order to also get their allowance. So if they do their chores, that's great. But if they didn't go through their financial literacy or their whatever class we would do, they still wouldn't get that allowance, which again, you're driving that participation, you're driving engagement, all while providing that value back to those original members that you need to make sure you're taking care of. So a lot of cool opportunities to use the tech and don't have to lean completely into PFPs, right? But you can.
Loyalty programs is the thing. Loyalty programs, a few of them are doing really, really smart things, really, really well. Starbucks particularly, but even like Nike. Do you know the Lufthansa one? I put this actually up on the list to talk about at the end. You familiar with that? Up Trip by Lufthansa?
I'm not actually.
It's pretty cool, man. I spoke about it about a month ago, but I didn't have too many details, and I started to look into it a little bit more. It's basically their loyalty program that they're putting on the blockchain. And as you travel to different cities, you collect NFTs.
Yeah.
And as you get sets and stuff, they will reward you, upgrade to get in the lounge or
I love that.
Whatever it is. Yeah, right.
Yeah. See, I think loyalty programs is something that's a simple way to do it. I also think engagement programs where you can go, if you think about the NBA or the NFL, right? You've got probably half the teams that are in major markets that don't need to worry about selling out.
Right.
But then you have half the teams that aren't.
Yeah.
And most of those small market teams, I'll use my Hornets for example, suck. We've been terrible.
You guys have sucked forever.
We've been horrible.
Man. What's MJ doing?
It don't matter. He's counting his cash, bro. He's counting his cash.
He sold, didn't he sell?
He just sold.
Yeah, he sold. Yeah.
So we got new leaders in place, but how do you drive attendance? And if you drive attendance, how do you provide special experiences aside from the game in an inexperienced way that people can feel attached to it? How can you actually create emotional attachment to these players when they're not the players that they're watching on ESPN all the time, right? And or on the highlight reels. And so I think there's a ton of opportunity to do that also while leveraging different technologies like AR, VR, things like that, where these types of organizations have the capital to put into some of these programs and can actually really push it forward, all while creating blockchain solutions that don't require people to understand that they're using blockchain, which is, I think, really important at first.
That's a very important aspect to any of this. It needs to be seamless. That's a really good point. The one you made that you don't even mention NFTs. You talk about this artist that won't even say he's part of the project with Ducati because it's on the blockchain. Like people are so weird. There must have been a really good propaganda.
Yeah, I guess they were saying that they had done some things previously and they lost some of their other business because they were working with blockchain and crypto. And it sucked because when I went through the artwork, which also because of those negotiations, they delayed showing the artwork up front. So they were giving these little teasers, but the teasers were like little cropped photos of like part of the NFTs. So it wasn't giving. When I actually saw the artwork, which was after mint, I was like, oh my gosh, this stuff is freaking killer. Like it's really good. And so I was just like, man, I wish this was an artist that was going to be proud of this.
Who was the artist? Andy could bleep it out.
Yeah.
You don't have to say it.
I don't want to say it, man. I don't want to say it.
You can say Andy will believe it. Andy will believe it.
It was ironically enough, same people that did this hoodie that I'm wearing, which we're not allowed to say either.
Yeah. So
you got it
that's
out.
funny. Yeah, I'll check it out. I'll check him out and see the thing. That's pretty funny though. What was I just gonna say there? Oh yeah, using blockchain right and not telling the people. Oh yeah, I was gonna actually mention the Blackbird app. You're in New York. You would
Oh
actually,
man, so cool.
isn't it? Yep.
So freaking cool,
Yep.
man. Yeah,
Yep.
I think they're going to do incredible things.
Yep, they are. It's really cool. So if anyone doesn't know, I've also talked about this before, but the dude that founded what was it, Rezi? He started this Blackbird app, which is basically a loyalty program for restaurants, and it's mostly in New York right now. You go to the app, the Blackbird app, you open it up, it's a map. You can look at all the restaurants, you click on them. Some of them have a free NFT, some of them you pay and you get certain perks. And when you go, you tap the NFC chip on their plaque or whatever, right? Is that how it works at the restaurant? So it knows you're there. To get an NFT, the free ones, you literally just click and it mints it in 2 seconds for free on the base chain. I loved that seamless, easy. You have an NFT, but it's not an NFT. It's just basically a card or whatever. Like what I want to tell people, like I'm actually working on something also I'm going to tell you afterward. But what I want to tell people is like, if you don't care that it's on the blockchain, you don't want to do anything with the blockchain, don't worry. It's just like, it doesn't matter. You just have this stuff in your account. It's just sitting there. But the reason we believe in the blockchain is because all that stuff you get, even if it was free, you could sell it. It might be worth 50 cents or $1, but who knows, whatever. But it's yours. And that's why we believe in the technology. And then,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and then in addition to that, it allows us to dynamically reward you forever in ways that we weren't able to before if you just want to keep your stuff. You're now an OG, and we can reward you for the T-shirt you bought in 1993 in 20 years.
Totally. Additionally, think about it this way. In Rezi, so when they came out with this, by the way, I was calling on Rezi as like a prospect. I was like, I've got an idea similar to what they're doing. But I've been thinking about it from a restaurant standpoint anyways. You know, you go to old restaurants, you know, they had the punch cards, right? You buy 10 of these. How many times have you ever lost that punch card and you've had 8 things on it, right?
How many times have you ever gotten to the 10 and actually cashed it in?
Correct.
Once or twice in your life.
And so this provides a seamless way to do that. I also have always envisioned with restaurants. So I have this thing like actually right over here in my little mini bar. I've got a big jar where I walk out of restaurants and I always grab a matchbook. And my wife and I collect these matchbooks. And so I thought it'd be really cool to create a concept where every time you go, you get a digital matchbook. And if you get 10 of these matchbooks, you actually can create a burn mechanism where you light them on fire and you get the reward. And so you actually lean into a traditional thing that they used to do, all while creating rewards. And I thought it'd be a lot of fun, something simple, something that's easily tracked. And then something else that you talked about that a lot of people don't share or don't even quite fully understand about the blockchain, you actually are slowly gaining more information around data. Is the most, all these organizations we look at, they're data companies. That's how they make their money. And blockchain actually can provide us incredible data around other things that people collect, the things that you like. And so now from a marketing standpoint, Rezi would ultimately be able to look at this and say, oh, you're regular at these 3 types of organizations. We're going to start sending you specific ads or specific rewards for other organizations that just came on board that fit the model of these. So now they're making recommendations. They're making simplistic aspects to make our lives easier. And that's the thing. Blockchain has been a friction point, which makes things more challenging. Eventually it'll flip where it's actually something that makes everything easier. Mm-hmm. And when you make people's lives easier, that's when the mass adoption takes place. Right now, we're still in this clunky phase of trying to figure out what chain's best to do this stuff on. How do we, what's the best way to set up non-custodial wallets? What's the best way to engage with these people? And Discord, telling people to get into a Discord, all this it's not it. You're not going to get it.
The tech isn't there yet. Yeah, the tech isn't quite there yet. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's starting to be some of the cream is rising though. There's some good stuff coming out. Oh, like even like DraftKings Rainmakers is doing really well. I've talked about this stuff. Yeah. The number one volume NFT by far is CS:GO. You familiar with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me pull up. So cryptoslam.io. We usually look at the stats here. So 24 hours, it is, it's done 1 million in sales. Mutants have done 800,000. Gods Unchained have done 750,000. Over 30 days, it's number one with 37 million in sales. It's on the Mythos blockchain. Counter-Strike Go is the game. So about 2 or 3 months ago, it started slowly creeping up the list, and then it's just taken over. This is over the last few months. So it's got 37 million in the last month. DraftKings has done 12 million. Bored Ape Yacht Club 21. So Rare's done 10 million, and CS:GO is 37.
There's people the cream will rise to the top, right? I mean, it's just one of those things. We'll look back in several years and it won't look anything the way like it does today. I like to believe that the people that have gone through this chaos will have a special place to, one, share the memories, share the chaos, the stories. I'm a big storyteller, but two, we all say, and I hate saying all. There's a lot of us that say we're paying attention, but are we paying attention? And are we learning? Right. And so I think even we talk a lot about the projects that will look differently. The protocols will look differently. Who's at the top will look differently. That also goes to the people. The people that are here will look different. The people we platform will most likely be different. And so I'm excited for those days to come. I hope. I like going to builder conferences like ETH Denver, Consensus, because you're put in these situations where it's not just these NFT folks that think they know what they're doing because they understand that community's great, which, don't get me wrong, community's awesome. It's an incredible piece. But what have we done to understand the tech behind it, and how can we push the tech forward? Because that is the differentiator.
Yeah, we need some projects to come out, make Web3 proud, really show people what blockchain technology is awesome, and people are going to start to harness it. And even nations are starting to use it. They're putting documents. Who is the country that I brought up last week? Can't remember exactly who it was, but they're creating this whole program. I think it's in Abu Dhabi, and they're creating this whole program. It's definitely in Abu Dhabi, and they're creating this whole program where they're putting degrees and government, just all different kinds of certificates and everything right on the blockchain, of course.
Yeah, I think birth certificates, death certificates make a ton of sense for local and state governments.
Yeah.
From the standpoint.
So what would you do if you were doing something like that? It would probably be on a closed blockchain, or they would be soul bound. I don't know. How would you?
Yeah, it would definitely be soul bound. I think it would be on a closed blockchain that you provide access to. Right. I wish I had more knowledge to be able to go in depth on something like that. I can see it from a 50,000 foot view.
No doubt.
That makes sense. I mean, shoot, another government, though, the Al Salvadorian government just partnered with Pons, who's the founder of The Plague, for what they're doing with making coffee. And so they're
oh, no way.
Yeah, so they're trying to build out a coffee franchise business where in essence the NFTs or the predicate licenses that for each different location they have to purchase a license, which means they have to purchase it from the NFT holder, right? So there's the value there. But the government is working with the farmers to provide a specific rate for the coffee beans. And on each package, there's going to be a story about who the farmers were, the family that actually worked on your beans. There's going to be a QR code where you can actually go and using the Bitcoin Lightning Network, provide transactions back to them so you can tip them and provide them additional income in order to support their families.
That's dope.
So there's really cool in real life people that are building solutions from a tech standpoint, and most people don't even know that's taking place with the plague and making coffee because their floor price is sitting at like 0.2 0.3 something in that ballpark, right? But it's because he's not leaning into speculation. He's actually he put out 4 like 25-minute PowerPoint videos a few months back on this. He goes, yeah, I'm old, these are PowerPoints, deal with it. And it's like, people don't like that because it's just being fully transparent and real and doesn't lean into speculation. But I think they're building sustainable growth concepts.
I didn't know. You're right. I didn't know that. So,
yeah.
Damn. Yeah. El Salvador, they're the ones that have really integrated Bitcoin, right? Like everyone's running around buying stuff at the market in Bitcoin. Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Yeah. So again, providing opportunities for upward mobility in towns and places in the world that don't typically have it. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, that's cool. No doubt. That's really cool. Those are some cool, especially the little tip thing, because you just give somebody 0.0006 of a Bitcoin. It's pretty good.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. I love that. What else do I have on my list? Let's talk about ChatGPT. How much you getting into AI and ChatGPT?
I love ChatGPT. I mean, I've gone down the path of I'm even working with commercial real estate brokers in the city where I've integrated ChatGPT into their Zoom Info prospecting tool for automated responses. In order.
Yes. Oh, so you're real. Whoa, that's deep. Whoa.
Yeah. So I'm a big,
cool,
big ChatGPT guy.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm on it constantly for everything I do. Like even things I'm not sure if I can use it for, I want to like see if I can think of a way to get it to figure it out for me. Like the Dolly 3 integration a couple of weeks ago has blown my mind.
It's insane.
I know. And then just being able to talk to it like a person, like actually change it up a little bit instead of making a whole new prompt. I canceled my Midjourney subscription. Canceled.
Yeah, I still have my Midjourney because I'm playing.
I might get a. They make different style images.
They do.
Dolly 3 ChatGPT can do logos and words and like characters, but Midjourney does make like more like artistic, dark, like fantasy kind of.
Yeah, they're very different solutions.
Yeah, right.
I definitely don't use. I use Midjourney primarily for different creative reasons and just piddling with. I've entered some art competitions, and I'll start with
cool. Hive 3. You do Hive 3?
No, so I do one primarily through Command A, which is a Moonbird created. One of the community members created it, so every month.
Got it. Oh, that's cool.
And so, like, I'll use that, and then I'll take their image and start putting it into other solutions to make things that are hand drawn on it, stuff like that. But with the ChatGPT stuff, I just like that you can train. And if you have 4.0, the paid subscription, you can actually start to really train it to understand.
If you don't have ChatGPT 4.0, the paid subscription, you're behind right now. I'm just saying. And there's no two ways about it. If you're not paying for the $20 a month for ChatGPT, you're behind. I mean,
dude, my mom's a teacher. She's a high school teacher.
Right. Yeah.
She fucking hates ChatGPT because she's having to deal with it. And I go, Mom, you got to lean in.
It's like a math teacher hating calculators.
Totally. But I was like, you got to lean in. Like,
use it. Make the kids smarter. Right. Now don't give them the same
through it, not against it. Right. And so, like, I've been trying to get her mind wrapped around it for how you could actually relate to the kids differently.
What does she teach?
English. So
she have the kids write the most beautiful poems that have ever been written. Like, like have them Like do stuff like that.
I told her. So my mom used to tell, like, my mom was an English teacher, but I was a fucking terrible writer. So, like, she used to tell me I'm like one of the worst writers she's ever seen.
That's
I worked on my writing quite a bit through my early career, like publishing different articles, things like that, just to practice. But I was like, Mom, do you understand the power I would have to be able to get my thoughts on paper, plug it into ChatGPT to make it cohesive and, concise, have the punctuation correctly? I mean, it would have changed the game where it's not me saying, ChatGPT, write me an article or write me a research paper on the war of XYZ, blah, 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 blah. And it does it. I get that's full on plagiarism in essence. But if I take my work and I use it as a tool to make it better, it's what's the difference from me using Word with, spell correct and grammar correct?
Right. It's the next step up.
It's the next step up.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that's AI. That's AI too. Google search is AI.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, and so I think it's just an incredibly powerful tool. I think about the things when I was training sales reps back in the day, and sales reps are horrifically bad, most of them, at details. And so working through even responses to emails where, like, I would see some come through and I'm like, oh my God, this is so bad. And so the power to take a professional and mitigate the amount of time they have to use on things that they're not good at, it can change the game for so many people.
Dude, it's getting to the point like it's like pumping out like a month's worth of social media content in 30 minutes for people, like all that stuff. There's a new upgrade coming this week. This is the ultimate first world problem, but I'm happy they've solved it. So if you want to upload an image and have them describe it and give you prompts, you used to have to upload the image into one chat, copy it, go over to another one, and they are fixing that, thankfully, because that was a pain in the ass.
It was such a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
You know what I've used it a lot for is taking these fucking white papers that are so
right. Give us to me in bullet points, the most important things.
God, like I don't
news articles. No, when there's a news article, I do the same thing. Yep.
Dude, when there's a long tweet, that I don't want to read.
Let me tell you this. Every time I'm getting ready. So we were interviewing Josh the other day. I'll go, tell me everything that you can about Josh Ong in bullet points, and then take on the persona of Joe Rogan and Lex Friedman and give me 25 questions you would ask him based on what you found out. And like, it's like, it gives me everything I need. And take 3 or 4 of the questions it gives. Like,
dude, so you're setting me up. You're setting me up. I'll share this on air right now. So I'm working on a new show. I'm working on a new show.
Oh, Alpha.
Yeah, I'm working on a new show. It's going to be a once a week show. I'm narrowing down my co-host. So I have got one set in stone, but we're wanting a female co-host.
Totally.
And so there's a old HBO show that no one's parents used to let you watch called Taxi Cab Confessions. And Taxi Cab Confessions was a show that
know it very well. That was like, well, dude, we're about I think you're a few years younger than me, but like that was heyday. Like they come on at midnight, and then Real Sex after that. I don't even want to get into that.
Oh yeah.
If you know Taxi Cab Confessions, you know HBO Real Sex.
100%.
Yeah.
So the show's concept as it sits today is going to be called Maxi Chad Confessions. And Chad is not a sex, a gender, it's a way of life. So it's not about being a guy. And the way that we're wanting this show set up in theory is a combination of like a late night talk show meets Howard Stern. And so I've used ChatGPT to help work up the intro to this, the segments around
Oh my God. Yes, total. You brainstorm every step of the way.
Everything. And because at some point you've got the concept, right? And you'll be typing out, and then you hit you think you have the concept and you get 2 segments in and you're like, okay, maybe this isn't good. Maybe this isn't a good thought. This isn't going to work. And then you start diving deeper and like helped us work up like the warning. This show is filmed by idiots. Nothing, nothing here should be taken serious. It's all for entertainment. Nothing you say should or will be used against you in the court of public opinion. Like let's be real, right? And so
yes,
I'm using that nonstop right now to build out this concept of this show, because I want it to be something that this space has never seen. This isn't going to be a show where we're talking about having interviews of people on to talk about their projects. It's not going to be a drama-filled show. This is going to be entertainment. We're going to be calling people out. We're going to be having fun. One of the segments is called Maxi Chat or Maxi Pad. And so it's,
oh boy.
Yeah. So we hold a photo of the PFP up and we got to rate people Maxi Chat or Maxi Pad.
Wow.
I mean, it's going to be incredible. I think so, at least. That or I get canceled one way or another. One way or another. And I'm fully doxxed. So I know that when I tell this concept to a few people, they're like, how hard are you? And I'm like, no, we're not going hard. We're gonna be it's fun. It's fun. Like, come at me. Like, you can call me a maxi pad. It's cool, no big deal. It is what it is. But yeah, so that's one of the next things that I'm working on. But I've been using ChatGPT to help me hone in on it for sure.
Totally. Yeah, you use it for anything, brainstorming constantly. And you ever get to a point where you like I ask it, I'll like, give me 20 of this and then 20 more. I like feel bad sometimes. I don't want to push it, but it's a computer, I'm always thank you. I'm so polite to it. Like, polite as you could possibly be.
I thank you.
Please and thank you all the time.
Yes, sir. Yes.
I'm like, these ones are awesome. I'm like, thank you so much. These last ones are awesome. Let's do a little more, but tweak it a little bit like this, like, because it's learning. Don't be a jerk to it.
I think every single team, by the way, that has provided IP rights to their holders should have a ChatGPT bot in their Discord that is trained to be able to understand the traits associated with it. And you can come in and create a name and a storyline associated with your NFT.
That would be cool.
Most people, like, I was thinking about it when I had all my apes, right? Everybody was naming them these cool names, this and that. And I was like, I got nothing. I had nothing. And so like ChatGPT came out after that, all that. And so now I've got, different names for my assets.
Right, of course. Yeah.
I think that the teams need to be providing these engaging opportunities that are easy to set up, that can actually come in and help say, okay, this has a, pipe smoker.
Well, yeah, right. And ChatGPT now can do that. I'm actually so impressed. If you put any images in there,
oh yeah,
and it's not just that it reads them; it reads them instantly. Like, it does images faster than anything else.
It's insane.
You can take a picture of the inside of your refrigerator and ask it for recipes from the things that are in there.
Oh,
try that.
Oh, I've not done that. That's awesome.
Try that. Yep. You could take. I don't know if you could do. I had the idea to take a picture at the grocery store of like the meat shelf and like what's the best deal, like things like that, and see if it can like see the prices.
Oh yeah.
But like, you can literally. I showed my parents. I took a picture of their fridge and it like gave me all these recipes with what was in their fridge.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Wild.
That's wild.
And so you could put. They're about to add where you can. I think some people have it. I don't have it yet. Where you can enter PDFs. And you can talk with the PDF, whatever that means. Yep. I don't even know what that means. I came across, I was actually studying the Aptos blockchain. Someone asked me to look at it. And I came across, they have like their Ether scan, but it's Aptos scan. They have an AI chatbot where you could talk to their blockchain scanner and like how much of this contract or who did this. And it didn't work real well. But the idea of that I thought was brilliant.
Have you tried with messing around with the AI app called Pi?
No, I've heard of it, but I have
Yeah,
not.
it's pretty cool. It's literally you have conversations with your phone.
Okay.
But they're pretty good. Like it's I've just been playing around with different AI solutions.
Yeah, no, I mean, everyone keeps telling me about Google Bard, which I haven't even messed with yet, sadly.
So I have done side by side comparisons of ChatGPT and that, and very similar. I will say, as ChatGPT starts to go more historical in their background and the data they pull, it's getting less and less different. Google provides a little bit more historical value associated with it. Additionally, it's caught up quicker. But I think that I'm more of a ChatGPT guy than a Google.
I am now. I'm definitely an OpenAI maxi at this point. Sam Altman, crushing it.
Crushing.
Yeah, for sure. I love the stuff. It's getting better. Like the people that came in back in whatever it was, February or March, when it blew up for 10 minutes and they played with ChatGPT 3.5. Oh, this is cool, whatever. It's not like that anymore. It's 50 times better, and it's getting better by the minute.
Totally.
It just really is.
Well, shoot, man, it's been fun. I appreciate you having me on.
Yes, this is great, brother. Let's go. No, I would have kept talking. No, let's cut it off. What are we at? Almost 2 hours.
Almost at 2 hours. I'm sitting.
Yeah. I know.
Just came over and gave me the clip on the legs. I'm like,
yeah.
He's wondering why am I not laying down already? But no,
I love it. I think we got to everything to talk about. We talked about so much. This was a pleasure, dude. I appreciate you coming on. Short notice, all
definitely.
that.
I appreciate you asking. I'm always. You give me a microphone, I'm down to chop it up. Let's go.
That is what's up. You want to give anybody your socials or anything like that before we sign off?
Yeah, if you want to follow me, I'm at Kyle Riggins on Twitter or X, whatever we're calling it these days. So that's at KYLERIGGINS. You can also search Kyle Riggins on LinkedIn if you want to find me in a more professional setting. But I am the dead skeleton moonbird with a frog on its head. So come find me. Let's go.
Hell yeah. With that said, I'm going to try and close it out like Jenny said. She goes, with that said, everybody, that's another episode of the NFT Catcher Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to the NFT Catcher Podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something new about the exciting world of NFTs. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you really love what you're hearing, please leave us a rating and review on your favorite platform. If you want to stay up to date with the latest news and insights from the NFT space, be sure to follow us on all the socials at NFT Catcher Pod. You can follow Jennifer at Jennifer_pseudo and Michael at NFTicket. I'm your producer, Andy, and I'm at AJC254. Our theme song's by It's Just Los. We always appreciate your feedback and support, which helps us reach more people and bring you informative and engaging content about NFTs. We look forward to bringing you more great NFT content in future episodes. Thanks for listening. Peace.